you'll be doing. Or it's a good book I want to plug. It's not mine, but it's a book, Word on Finances, Larry Burkett. Okay? I've bought and given away many of these books, and I think it's one of my favorite books because the Word on Finances is one of my favorite authors. Larry Burkett is he's from a series of different authors that I've read and I've studied. They all write financial literacy from a biblical perspective. And this particular book, Larry Burkett, he's since passed away from cancer, but he's one of the greatest authors that I've ever read. And he has a whole series of books, him, and they have Ron Blue and Dick Brousseau has another one, a little short one in there I usually read. But this one is my, essentially, it takes topical scriptures and commentary. It's a great book. I used to be a part of an organization called, and I still kind of am, Crown Financial Ministries, where you study the Bible for 12 weeks, and then you use the Bible to help individuals who are in need to budget, plan, and save. In every book, every meeting that I would have with individuals, I would have the Bible, and I would have this book. Okay, so someone would say, Ryan, I don't think I should pay my debt back. I don't want to pay back my debt. And I'll just open up to the chapter on debt and say, oh, let's just see what it says about debt. And that's how I would use it, So I think it's just a great book to figure out, help you from a financial perspective, what words from the Bible do you allow in your life, which allow you to walk. See, it gets back to what Jesus wants to talk to us about, is that, again, the instruction that we're following is the future that we're creating. And as God gives us instruction, the words that we're listening to allows us to achieve His blessings and not achieve life's curses. Okay? So, let me go to the next one. I haven't even go there yet. Okay. So, this is what it really is all about. So, now, we talk about money. Okay? Let's first, I want to discern what money really is, and what's really the big deal about money, okay? From a Christian perspective, okay, because a lot of folks have misconceptions about what money is, okay? Now, there's two different thought processes, or maybe more than two, but for the case of a discussion today, let's just simplify and say there are two different people on either side of the room. On this side of the room, you see someone who's living in poverty, right? On this side of the room, you see someone who's rich. Right? Now, in the middle is you all, the Christians. Right? Now, on this side of the room, someone says, okay, the one living in poverty says, well, you ask that person, what are possessions? Okay? What are possessions? That person living in poverty might say, well, possessions are evil. I'm not supposed to have them. Okay? The rich person might say, well, possessions are my right. I mean, this is what I'm supposed to have. I'm supposed to have possessions, I'm supposed to have material things that work hard every day. They're my right. But the Christian understands that possessions are neither evil nor are they a right. They're just purely a responsibility. Okay? That's it. No more, no less. They're not evil. They're not your right. They're just a responsibility. No matter how little or much that you've been blessed with, that you have a responsibility to manage exactly what you have. So, and then you ask yourself, why do we work? What's the purpose in going and getting up every day and going to work? The person who's poor might say, well, I work, man, look, I'm just trying to pay my bills, man. I'm just trying to pay my bills and just get by. I'm just trying to make sure I can keep the lights on and keep food on. I'm just trying to do what I need to do. Person who's rich says, man, I'm working to get rich. I make a good salary. I'm trying to make a little bit more. But the Christian understands that you don't work to just get by and meet basic needs. You don't work to get rich. You work to serve Christ. Okay? The purpose of you getting up and going to your job every day, and whatever it is you're doing, it really is a higher calling that God is calling you to do, to say that He is putting you on a mission to serve Him. So no matter how little or much that job is blessing you with, if you are following His path, your needs will be fulfilled. Okay? So you ask yourself, what does it mean to be godly? Okay? People have misconceptions about what does it mean to be godly. Okay? So the poor person You know, person says, man, I'm godly because I'm poor. I have nothing. I have no material possessions. I'm just poor. So that's why I'm godly. Okay? But the rich person says, hey, look at me. I'm blessed. Look at me. Hey, hey. I got the car. I got the house. I'm blessed because I'm godly. Okay? But as we said before, it's not whether you are poor, whether you are rich and just have money like Scrooge McDuck that you're swimming in that stuff. It doesn't matter. You're just faithful. No matter what it is, you take what you have in every single solitary that you have. Can we go to the second to last slide? Oh, go down one. Go down, down, down. Hey, right there, up. That one. No matter what you have, you take it and you use what you have in order to make sure that you can fulfill His will. Okay? This famous saying, he said, if you ever want to hear God laugh, just tell him what your plan is. Okay? Because it's not your plan that you're supposed to be fulfilling. It's His plan you're supposed to be fulfilling through Him. Okay? And that's, I've always even thought about the word self-esteem. Are you supposed to have self-esteem or are you supposed to have God-esteem? Are you supposed to esteem within yourself? Or, because I would like to think that in myself I have nothing, but through Him I can get all things. So it's not really self-esteem that I try to strive for, it's God-esteem. And that perspective actually means a lot. This slide means a lot because this is what we're supposed to be doing in terms of what each dollar is used for. And it's really a simple breakdown in terms of the basic elements of a budget, which we're going to discuss today. There's only three things you do with money. You can spend it, you can save it, or you can give it away. That's all you can do with money. And building is essentially saving, using money in order to allow you to do something that is greater than you had before. Okay? So, over 80% of every dollar in America is spent in spending. Okay? Now, I want to digress a little bit here. I want to talk about money having, and we want to get back to some of the stuff that Scripture talks about because, again, I like to use things that money having. Okay? Money having. Money heaven is those type things where you spend your money on, and once you get it in there, it never comes back to you. It's gone forever. Okay? Money heaven, you got different things in money heaven. You got taxes, you got debt, you got living expenses, you got irresponsible giving. Irresponsible giving. Okay? Now, taxes, debt, living expenses, irresponsible giving. Now, those are four things that essentially, once you spend your money on, is gone forever. Okay? Your job is to essentially minimize each one of these. See what you can do to minimize these things. Taxes, debt, living expenses, irresponsible giving. Then the fifth one, if you can get these things through, then you have appreciation of capital. All right, so that we can remember this just for a second. That's the less you'll have of these things, the more you'll have in terms of appreciation of capital, because now you have the more into building. So when we talk about taxes, minimizing taxes, we're going to talk about some things, especially that actors and folks can do to minimize their taxes. We're going to talk about some things that we should be doing to minimize your debt. A lot of saying that I always like to say, if you can't afford to pay your bills, stop making bills. A lot of us are creating bills that we can't afford to continue to pay. Living expenses, we're going to talk about things that what the Word says about budgeting, because the Word talks very clearly about budgeting. And then we talk about irresponsible giving. I think that when we give something, it's best to give it in a way that empowers the other person. Okay, give it in a way where it's not just where they're actually relying upon you to continue to have that. A real quick story, we do a lot of work with gang members, and they came to me, they said, Ryan, these two bloods came, they said, Ryan, I want to borrow $100. I said, well, I'll do one better, I'll give you $100. And they said, well, wow, you gonna give me $100? I said, yeah, sure. I said, well, how about this? I said, well, this is what you gotta do. You gotta do some stuff for me first. He said, what do we have to do? I said, well, you gotta go to wix.com. You gotta do the form of a new website for your company. I know you do graphic design. I know you do videography. I want you to form a website for your company. Then I want you to go out to VELC. I want you to fill out a complete application. I want you to make a copy of it to prove that you filled it out, because I want you to get your GED. Then I want you to go to econnow.com. I want you to print out the screen, because I want you to form your company, because it's time for you to start forming your business. I want you to get an LLC, become a viable tax-paying person. Then I want you to have a meeting with my business partner, Eric Mayo, who's my director of entrepreneurship, to sit down with him to talk about what he can do, to what sort of ideas you can have to get your company up. And then in 2 months, I gave him a date. I think it was March or something, March 13th. I want you to come to my workshop. I want you to help design the flyers, and I want you to film the workshop, and then I want you to edit it. If you do all of that, I will give you $100. You know? So now I'm giving it to them. I'm giving them money, but I'm giving it in a way that they now have to ask for money again. So that is why I think that as Christians, we should really just start thinking about what can we do. Because again, I think the biggest blessing that I ever had is every time I'm able to bless somebody else. That's the best blessing to be able to do. Okay? And there's nothing better than to be able to say that I have made someone else better off, because that's what Jesus called us here to do. Okay? Purpose of life is a life full of purpose. And but you can't bless somebody else if you're so busy worried about your own bill collector's calling. Okay? Can't bless somebody else. It's a saying I always like. It's a poem that I wrote. It said, I would rather help you than help self. But I cannot help you unless I help self. So that I can better help you, I'm going to help self. Oh, and that's self. And that's really, because I believe that self-empowerment and can be community empowerment if you remove greed and replace it with love, which is what God is. God is love. So if you put God, if you replace greed with love, and that's what I think capitalism has gotten a bad rap either. I don't think capitalism is bad. I think greed is bad. You know, if you have love within everything, if you put love in it, can work. There's nothing that without love in it cannot work, because God is love, and if you put God in anything, it will work. So, but if you remove God, love, then it will not be successful, and you will have it. I'm going to prove to you today how the recession actually could have been avoided had we used biblical principles. Okay? So, matter of fact, I want to go into that now to show this is what happened. I'm going to show what happened as a result of what we should have been doing, but what we didn't do. And I'm going to draw a real rough graph of, okay, this is 2000 back here. 2000. This is the market. We had a crash, came back again, 2007, crash, then it came back again. So now, who remembers what happened in 2000? What happened in 2000 made the market crash?
Housing.
Not the housing, that was 2007. Internet bubble. There you go. The internet bubble. So the internet bubble was essentially caused by what? Greed. Enron. Okay. That's another valuable component. People not investing their money wisely. It was caused by getting rich quick. People wanted to start putting money into stocks quick. Speculation. It was caused by buying stocks without any speculation. So now, 2000, what happened? Let's just say my name is John, and I want to buy stocks because everybody else is buying stocks. And I'm getting a little bit greedy because I'm seeing all these other people becoming millionaires overnight. So I need to go ahead and do something. But wait a minute, should I be greedy? Well, what about what it says in Proverbs 15:27? A greedy man brings trouble to his family. Wow. So maybe I shouldn't be greedy. But I see all these other people getting rich quick. I need to put money into the economy. I need to put money into the market because I need to get rich quick because it's 2000. Everybody's getting money overnight. But what about when it says in Proverbs 28:22, he that hasteth to be rich hath an evil eye, and considereth not that poverty shall come upon him. Hey, so the word is telling me I shouldn't be greedy. The word is telling me I shouldn't jump into it and try to get rich quickly. But wait a minute, but what about, I want to put money to all these investments, and I want to invest in things like Enron or all these sort of things. What about this, just investing in the economy? Because, people put money in the market, they're making money overnight. But what about what it says in Ecclesiastes 5:13 and 14 that says there's another serious problem I have seen everywhere. Savings are put into risky investments that turn sour, and soon there is nothing left to pass on to one's son. The man who speculates is soon back to where he began with nothing. See the market here? Speculates, back to where he began with nothing. This, as I said, is a very serious problem, for all his hard work has been for nothing. He has been working for the wind. It is all swept away. What happened in 2000, 2004? Swept away. It is all swept away. All the rest of his life is under a cloud, gloomy, discouraged, frustrated, and angry. I think those were all, the word described almost forecasted every single emotion that was going to happen because of speculation and greed and people putting into money and investments that they shouldn't have been. Speculation. And then we went out, but then, the thing about it is that, and I do believe that the Bible is the most powerful financial planning book on the planet if you use it right. If you use the word to base your investment decisions, then these things, but then you can read things like, sometimes you read things like Warren Buffett only buys something that'd be perfectly happy to hold it if the market shut down for 10 years. I put that in here because sometimes, and I put that in here because I like to use secular things, especially in other workshops, because if I say something with the word, people just won't believe it. It's like you say something Bible-based, it's like, whatever. But if Warren Buffett said it, so it has to be right. But the Bible's saying the exact same thing. The Bible's saying the exact same thing that Warren Buffett's saying. The Bible's saying Benjamin Graham, the individual investor, should act consistently as an investor, not as a speculator. This means that he should be able to justify his purchase that he makes with the price that he pays by impersonal objective reasoning that satisfies him that he should be getting more than his money's worth for his purchase. Benjamin Graham, very famous investor. So Warren Buffett says it. Benjamin Graham says it. It has to be true. But the Bible's saying the exact same things. It said the exact same things. The Bible's written thousands of years before these folks even thought about it. So these are principles that stand over time. So we move forward here. This is 2007. What happened here? Foreclosure crisis. Now, you want to talk about foreclosure. How do you stop? We do a lot of workshops on foreclosure, right? How do you stop foreclosure? Well, first thing you have to do is get some good consultation. Okay? Before you buy a home, which is the biggest investment of your life, you must get good consultation, right? But you also have to be wise. You got to get some wisdom, because you just can't just jump into and just buying anything without. Because essentially, what happened is that, I always use the term of Susie. Susie's walking down the street, and she says, okay, hey, Susie, the mortgage broker comes to her and says, hey, Susie, I got, this is 2005 or 4. Hey, Susie, look here. All these people on your block are buying these homes up left and right. You need to get in on this. So Susie says, well, I don't have any money today. I don't have any, I got a 500 FICO score. What am I supposed to do? Well, Susie says, well, no, and the mortgage broker says, don't worry about that, we got something for you. Don't worry about it, we got something for you. We're going to allow you to go, all you got to do is come to my office tomorrow with a pen, and I'll give you a set of keys. Just sign on down the line. Just sign on down the line, I get it for you. Don't worry about it. So Susie now is looking at all these houses being bought up all around her, and Susie says, well, wait a minute. So when are you going to buy your home, Susie? It's the American dream. The American dream is to buy a piece of property. You got to live the American dream. Well, wait. So what? I thought American dream was financial independence, helping other people, but no. In this economy, with all these homes and all these banks making all this money, the American dream is now you got to buy this piece of property, because unless you buy the piece of property, we're not going to make money. So you got to live the American dream and buy this piece of property. So Susie now starts having a little bit of impatience. Doesn't really know a whole lot about it. So what does she do? She goes and buys a piece of property. She doesn't get consultation, is not wise about buying homes, didn't have any patience, didn't learn about the different things in terms of budgeting. And then say in terms of, now the mortgage broker, he's not doing things according to the word as well. So, consultation. Proverbs 11:14. For lack of guidance, a nation falls, but many advisors make a victory sure. So, the word is simply saying to you, for the lack of guidance, the nation falls. But many advisors make victory sure. So the word is sitting there telling you, don't go into things. God has put people here to assist you to make these decisions. Because if you don't use these people, these advisors, nation falls, market crashes. Entire economy went down because people didn't get guidance, free not-for-profits, free information. I'm giving workshops every other week on home buying workshops. Okay? So what about wisdom? Proverbs 3:13, blessed is a man who finds wisdom. What about Susie not being patient? Proverbs 14:29, a patient man has great understanding. So you weren't necessarily patient enough to jump into that new piece of property. So now you sign this big, huge document that you can't read or don't even know what the heck it's talking about. So you have no understanding. So what about budgeting? So don't you have to learn about how to budget and put some things together? And it says in Luke 14:28, for which of you intending to build a tower sitteth down not first and counteth the cost, whether he hath sufficient to finish it? The word, I'm going to read that again. For which of you intending to build a tower? See, we're all building something. We're all building something. And what you're building, you can build with finances, but have you not counting the cost to finish what your tower? Do you not know how much your tower is going to cost? Your home, your retirement, your college, your business. It's all a thing. It's a tower, something that you're putting into it. Have you not taken the time to count the cost of what it's going to take to finish it? So Susie built this tower of a home, but didn't figure out how much it's going to cost to build her tower. So she loses her tower, she loses her home, because she didn't count the cost with a simple budget. And then the mortgage broker, for those who might want to go on real estate and whatnot, they didn't do something that was fair. What about, is it fair, really, is it fair to give somebody a 100-page document and say sign on dotted line, and next thing you know, a year later, they get a quadruple mortgage rate that they didn't understand? Is that really fair? Is that really fair to give someone something that you know that they have no clue what they're saying? What says in Proverbs 16:11, the Lord established fairness in every business deal. He establishes principle. Fairness in every business deal means that in every deal that you have, God must be in it. God must be involved in every single transaction that you are taking place, no matter what it is. No matter if you're the provider of that transaction, being the mortgage provider, or whether you are that individual who's signing for the mortgage. Have God, and that means that Lord is establishing this business deal. So, if we see all these things, asking ourselves, because God, I don't think that lack is for anyone. I do believe that God is intended for us to be able to fulfill our needs. And being that that is the case, is poverty really a sign that we have overlooked instruction? I believe it is. And I'm going to tell you, that sounds kind of cold to even say that, because wait a minute, are you saying that poor folks are not looking at instruction? I think that it's a blessing to even think that way. And the reason that we go into so many public housing units is that I go there, and we're actually planning one right now. I'm going in there with the message of, this is not for you. Mm-hmm. There is something that you can do to change your situation. There's an instruction that you can follow to change your situation. So that is not a judgment. That is not trying to be harsh. That is just me saying that you can be positive about your future. See, my mother taught me a lot about contentment. Contentment means that I'm not happy to be broke. That's not what contentment means. Contentment means that despite my current state, I can still smile. Because I have faith in myself that tomorrow a better and brighter day is going to come. Because through work, James 2:17, faith that have not works is dead, being alone. We must be able to work. See, the equation for faith it's a mathematical equation for faith. You got belief plus action. That's the equation for faith. Faith would have not works is dead. The action makes you have faith. This faith, if you have nothing but belief, and I pray every day. I pray every day. But there has to be a time you have to act upon it. If you have no action, you have no faith. And so the action is what the word teaches us. This is what this, the beautiful part about, that's why I get so excited when I talk about poverty. We go and we work with homeless folks. It's like, wow, there is something that they can be doing right now. There's an action that they can take. Can we help them find this action? Can we help them find something that they can do? They don't have to rely upon me. They can rely upon that word and get themselves out of that situation. And I firmly believe, because I have faith, that there's an action out there that we can be educating them to do something with. And that's what it's all about. I'm going to tell you right now, not a week that goes by, I don't get a phone call from a gang member, not for help. They're helping me. Hey, yo, Mac, I got a connection for you, man. I got something going on down here. I got this going on over here. So that's what the community works. It's not about a handout. It's not about me looking down on somebody. It's about the fact that none of us is as strong as all of us. So if we're all playing our part, if we're all doing our thing, then we all can come together and work together. This is what it's all about. And that's not socialism. That's just helping folks out. It's just lending a hand and making sure that we can get each other's backs and being my brother's keeper. You know? I mean, no one in this room is going to have the same level of success. No one in this room is going to have the exact same level of success. And no one can guarantee a certain level of success that you're going to be this rich or this rich. But I can guarantee that if you follow the word, you'll be put in a position that you can help somebody to sit next to you. No matter how desolate you think the situation is. So we talk about these things. So we talk about why is money what it is. Now I'll tell you some stories, because people chase the wrong thing sometimes. People are always chasing money, right? People chasing money, and they think that money is where it's at. Until you've heard of, anybody ever heard of William Bud Post? William Post? You hear him? Okay, well, William Post won the lotto, $16.2 million, but now he lives on Social Security. So you ain't never heard of William Post, that's the reason why. You ever heard of Susan Mullins? Well, she won $4.2 million in the lottery in 1993. Now she's deeply in debt to lend her money using the winners as collateral. And I'm going on, I got a ton of them here. Willie Hurt, $3.1 million. 2 years later, he was broke and charged with murder. Lawyers said he spent his fortune on divorce and crack cocaine. Missourian Janite Lee, $18 million. Now she just filed for bankruptcy, $700 left in 2 bank accounts. Okay? See, all of these folks, a lot of folks are chasing money. Dude, and the beautiful, this is the part about it is, there is we just did a special on CNN about this. There is a negative correlation between education and people that play the lottery. The more you increase your education, the less you play the lottery. Okay? You go to the south side of Chicago on any given year, in one zip code, they might spend as much as, this is a $50 billion industry across the country. In one zip code in the south side of Chicago, one zip code, they spend as much as $23 million a year just on lotto tickets. One zip code. Again, the more you educate yourself, the less you play the lottery. Why is that? Because if you educate yourself, okay, for my people perish without knowledge and wisdom. The word says that. Very clear in Proverbs. But then you look at Proverbs 17:16 of what use is money in the hand of a fool, since he has no desire to obtain wisdom. So the word is sitting talking about you don't chase money, you chase wisdom. You chase knowledge. You chase education. And you chase the things that God is really talking to you about. And it goes on, and just making sure that we have the ability, again, getting rich quick schemes. So now we're going to go into the 7 steps to financial freedom. Okay? 7 steps. Step 1, getting your house in order. Or your house, your financial house. Oh. Getting your house in order. Alright? Getting your house in order. Now, there are 4 components. You have insurance, estate plan, I'm probably not gonna kind of go all the steps, but if you email, I'll give you my email and I'll send you a pack with all these steps in it today. Budget and credit. It's step one. It's just step one. Now, insurance. 2 Kings 20:1. Set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live.
Which book is that?
2 Kings 20:1. Now, does that say go out and buy insurance? No, it doesn't say go out and buy insurance. But the way I look at it is that the word gives us things that we should be doing. Then we can say, now, what avenues can I take in order to fulfill what the word is telling me? Okay? What can I do? Now, who does not know a lot about insurance? Who does not know a lot about insurance? You don't know a lot about it? You know? Don't pick on you, Jeanette. Now, it says, set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live. Right? Now, you're in my office now, and I want to sell you some insurance. All right? I'm going to ask you some questions. First question I ask you is, do you love your family?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Second question I ask you is, do you feel that it's important to leave a legacy for your family? Okay. Okay. Pretty simple stuff, right? Pretty simple stuff. Now, the next question I'm going to ask you is, if there's a way you can leave your family $5 million and they would be educated on how to use it, would that be a good or a bad thing? That'd be a good thing. Easy question. There's no trick questions here. Okay? So now, what if I were to tell you that you could sign this policy here on the dotted line, and that would allow you to get $5 million to be left for your family? That'd be a good. And now this is an A plus rated insurance company. Okay, you sign on the dotted line, $5 million for your family. Would you sign this policy?
And you said that you educated on
Yeah, we can sit down with them. We can sit down with them and make
Sure.
sure. Oh, okay. So yes, so you would sign? Perfect. So you sign. So sign it there. Sign it there. You sign it. Cool. I got one. Who else would sign this policy? You would sign it? Totally. Heck yeah, sign the policy. That's great, right? So I got two. Who else?
What's the policy about?
Oh, yes. You want to ask some questions? Okay. Questions? Okay. I'll take questions. This policy is a life insurance policy. And upon passing away, you will be able to have $5 million left for your family. You would sign it?
No, the question would be, does it include accidental death? What does it
Yes.
include?
It includes accidental death. That's a great question. Accidental death, you would have, the only clause is that if you commit suicide, then you're not covered.
Okay.
Everything else, covered.
What would be the premium to pay?
Premium to pay? Oh, so now the question I'm asking you is, how much does it cost to leave a legacy for your family? What is that value? That's a good question, though. So I can see you thinking. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, some things American Express said, certain things are priceless. Okay? Some things are priceless. But that's all right, because obviously, so I've sold 2 policies. Anybody else been selling before? Did you sell? Would you sign?
It's like I know there's some people.
No. Well, no. So now, okay, so that's fine. What I would do for you, because you're concerned about money, and you're concerned about that, that's fine. Okay, no problem. So the question I'm going to ask you, what if we were to sit down and put together a budget to figure out exactly how much you can afford?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly how much you can afford, and figure out how much you can afford to go into this policy. Now, you might not be able to get the $5 million,
Okay.
but you'll be able to get something that's well within your budget,
Mm-hmm.
that in case you pass away, something go to your family. Would you not sign?
After looking everything over, yeah.
Okay, so then you would sign it. So sign it. Let's say you look it over, look good. So sign it there. Sign it. Can I get one? don't sign it?
I'm the kind of person that will go to an accountant and a lawyer before I sign anything.
Okay. Well, I can promise you this. This policy, after you go to your accountant, a lawyer, they say, yeah, you know, you did your budget, it checked out.
Okay.
You didn't check out. So you would sign it?
Yeah, I'd sign it.
Sign it. Sign it.
Mhm.
I gotta see your signature, sign it.
Hmm.
It's cool. See, now, according to those terms now, do I have any more purchases? Would you sign it now? Okay, I got 4. What else? What else?
Take it over here.
You'd sign it? Okay, I got 5. Okay. So I got 2 with the $5 million premium. I got 3 with a little bit cheaper premium. What else? Who else? What else? Who else? Okay. So now what I did right there was a violation of principles of fair business practice. Because I just took you. And how did I just take you? I took you because I led you on and one. You were trying to lead me. You give me enough questions. But the right question is not how much you can afford, but it's how much do you need. Okay? And so that's what we have to figure out in terms of, again, as I said very clearly in Luke, again, counting the cost to complete your tower. How can you put together a tower of financial freedom if all of your money's been spent on insurance that you don't necessarily need? You can't afford to build your tower of retirement, your tower of a business, your tower of a. So now you're building my tower. I'm getting paid because I'm getting commission off of you. And so again, it's not how much you can afford, but how much you need. So I'm going to afford. There's ways that insurance agents, I can go and I can look at your tax return. And I know that if your tax return is how much you get in a tax return? $3,000 a year? Oh, for how many years? For the last 3 years? Okay. Well, how about we increase your withholdings by 4? And we know that increasing your withholdings by 4 is going to decrease your tax return by about $2,000 or about $500 every time we increase it by 1. But it's going to increase your monthly take-home per check about $25. So that means if I increase your withholdings by 4, I can get another $100 from you at least on a monthly basis to put into a premium. So I'm going to look at your budget, and I love you letting me look at your budget and you not calling the shots on it is letting me dictate my needs, not yours. So I'm going through and I'm cutting stuff that I don't think you need because I want to make sure you put more in my policy. Again, you're building my tower. It's not your tower, it's my tower. Again, I just violated the fair business practices component. But you violated Luke 14:28 because you're not counting the cost. And within your budget, you say, well, it's going to cost me X amount of dollars in order to build this budget, to put my tower together no matter what it is. And I can't afford, I don't need that much. So you can go to websites like FINCALC, FinCalc.com is a great site. I always love giving that site out. FinCalc.com to make sure that we can essentially use calculators to do your own insurance needs analysis. If you ever want to buy life insurance, you want to go, again, wisdom, knowledge and wisdom. We talked about it earlier. I'm telling you, the word talks about the importance of obtaining wisdom. Blessed is a man that finds wisdom. We don't want, blessed is a man that finds wisdom, so you assume that cursed is the man that negates wisdom. So before we go into anybody's office that wants to sell us something, we must be fully equipped with knowledge. We must be fully equipped with education to be able to avoid being taken for a ride. Okay? So with that, we talk about FinCalc.com. Do your own insurance needs analysis, and then take that to the insurance agent's office and say, I did my own research. This is how much I think I should need. Now, if you're single and you have no loved ones that you depend upon, you might not need insurance as right now. But just know that you're taking the risk that the older that you get, the more your insurance is going to cost once you take it out. Just know that if you know that risk, and again, insurance was never meant to be a replacement for financial planning. I wish I had a lot of time to really go into the importance of insurance, but a lot of insurance agents might come to you and say, you can invest with insurance products, you can invest in this stuff. Again, if you have enough money to save or you can supplement on your own, the amount of money you can save and invest is never going to grow in whatever magic policy it is unless you die. It's never going to equal the amount that you can save on your own unless you die. At that point upon death, it's called alien to a risk. And that means you get a whole lot of money, but you don't get a whole lot of money, your heirs get it. But You don't plan to die, you plan to live, but you want to protect yourself in case you do die. Okay, so estate planning. Okay, Numbers 36 and 9. Neither shall the inheritance remove from one tribe to the other tribe, but every one of the tribes of the children of Israel shall keep himself to his own inheritance. To his own inheritance. Neither shall the inheritance remove from one tribe to another tribe. What is that saying to me? That if I have an inheritance, this inheritance should stay within my own family. How do I do that? Well, what mechanisms can I use to make sure that my inheritance stays with me? That would be a will. Okay, that makes that I can take my inheritance and it goes to those that I mentioned in my will. Okay? And a lot of individuals who pass away without a will, essentially they get their inheritance removed from one tribe to another tribe, and that other tribe is essentially a probate court. And I'll tell you right now, is over 30% of all legal fees are earned in probate court. Lawyers love probate court. They love it. And they love it if you don't have a will. Okay? Pass away testate or intestate without a will, testate with a will. And essentially the components of a estate plan are you have a will, you have a living will, you have a healthcare proxy, you have a durable spring financial power of attorney. You have a will, living will, healthcare proxy, durable spring financial power of attorney. All right, then. Will, living will, durable spring financial power of attorney, and healthcare proxy. I'm gonna get past the state. I'm not gonna do too much on this. I want to get in the budget real quick. But those are the four essential components. So you got the will dictates where your assets are going to be left. The living will states the outline of exactly how you want to be treated in case you are in the hospital and unable to make life-sustaining decisions on your own. Durable springing financial power of attorney, essentially that is, now durable springing, you want to underline those words because a financial power of attorney is a very powerful document. Very powerful document. If you just have a regular power of attorney, someone can be selling your home right now. Someone can be buying and selling stocks in your account right now. Someone could be trading. There's a lot of financial power that the financial power of attorney has over you, unless it's a durable springing financial power of attorney, meaning that if you are deemed by a court of law to be unable to make financial decisions on your own, then it springs by that the individual who signed up to be your attorney, in fact, springs into action, and then they can make those decisions on your behalf. And then healthcare proxy essentially is the agent that carries out the wishes outlined in your living will. Okay, very powerful document. Now, there's a book out there called Set Your House in Order. S-E-T, Your House in Order. Set Your House in Order. It's a great book. I bought a lot of these books for a lot of people. I don't know how many. I think it might be up to 100 or something now that I bought. It's a little small workbook. And I think that workbook is great because what it does is it's a workbook where you go through page by page and you go through all of your estate plan. And you go through, so in case God forbid something happens to you, all someone has to do is just get that book and they know exactly where all your belongings are, where all your assets are being held, who's your accountant, what debts are owed, how you, when you're passing away wishes, all those things are in that book, Set Your House in Order. You go to crown.org and get that. It's a great book. And I bought a lot of books for a lot of it. And I tell you, it's a great exercise if you're married or if you have a mother, or a father that's still alive and you want to care about what they're, you're thinking about their passing on and you want to make sure their estate is in order, take that book to them and just fill it out page by page with them. Do it over a period of a couple of months. Don't do the whole thing at the same time. For married couples, we've got a lot of people for married couples, they do like one page a week. And they end up filling out the whole book. And it really answers a lot of questions about it. Now the budget. Can you go up a slide? Up, yeah, down. Or go up, man. Okay, now. The importance of budgeting. Okay. Now, who are these folks? Anybody know who these people are? Hmm? Allen Iverson?
Yes.
Yep, Allen Iverson.
He's broke.
He's broke. Alright. Now, who's the other person?
Looks like he's like 60 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Navone. I met him in the green room at CNN one day, and I didn't know the story at the time. I think it just broke. A lot of folks will sit back and try to tell you why the value of budgeting and all this stuff. Paul Navone never made over $11 an hour his entire life. By the time he's 75 years old, he had $2 million in the bank. And he donated $1 million cash to a local community center. Okay? So just gave it away. Just gave it away. So Allen Iverson made over $300 million. Was it $300 million? 300. You all right? Allen Iverson made over $300 million. But because he essentially spent all his money, he's now what we call cash poor. He's not really like broke, he has no money, but his assets far are lower than his liabilities. Yeah, see, y'all just live. The brothers is broke. You know? So again, this is the difference between somebody that budgets and somebody that doesn't budget. The budget is the most important driver of the, it's such an important driver. And then when you're talking about budgeting, I'm gonna get a couple of quotes here about it. If you're looking at, what's up, brother? And this is the beauty about this book here. Let me see here. Planning, provision, 231. The Bible really focuses heavily on budgeting. Okay? It talks about Genesis 47:24. At the harvest you shall give a fifth to the Pharaoh, 4/5 shall be for your own seed in the field, and for your food and for those and for your households, and as for food for your little ones. It really talks a lot about dividing up things and where things should go. The budget allows you to do that. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now, this slide here, we talk about consumption. Okay, what is going on in this slide? Anybody know?
Horse betting?
No.
No, isn't that what? It looks like a riot, or yeah.
It's a riot. People hurting each other,
Well, it looks like
stepping over each other.
there's guys on the ground.
Oh, yeah. Looks like it's a shopping store.
Black Friday?
It's close. This is the release of the new Nike foam sneakers. It's the release of the Nike foam sneakers. And now, the word talks about for a man in 2 Peter 19 and 20. For a man is a slave to whatever has mastered him. For a man is a slave to whatever has mastered him. It looks like these folks have been mastered by some Nike sneakers. I mean, think about it. They wait in line all night long. They wait in line all night long to have the privilege of spending $300 on a pair of sneakers. All night long. And then when the doors finally open, they run to get the sneakers to the point of risking their own lives, just so they can have the privilege of spending $300 on a pair of shoes. That's called being mastered. That's called being mastered. Whatever you can walk away from, you have mastered. But whatever you cannot walk away from has mastered you.
Amen.
And this picture exemplifies what our society has come to. When the word essentially says, for a man is a slave to whatever has mastered him. Now think about it. Do you think that these same individuals are aware that for about $50, you can actually own the company that you're breaking the door down to buy the shoe from? Nike stock costs about $50 a share.
Mm-hmm.
So for $50 a share, you can own the business that people are buying products from, that you are in this line, but do you think that they understand it? Or do you think that they just throw caution to the wind and say, that's okay? I would rather spend 6 times the amount on a pair of sneakers that will be worth nothing after I put my smelly feet in them, as opposed to spending $50 and going and buy a share of stock. And in a few years, I can put my kids through college, or I can retire, and they'll actually pay you to own the stock. Nike will give you money to own the stock. They will pay you more money. But these folks are running over themselves to buy the shoes. And these are the things that, when you talk about being mastered, there is a lot of ways that the individuals have essentially, we're going to credit in a second, ways that they have essentially learned, because they know that we have been mastered as a society. They know that we've been mastered, so they say, look, these fools or consumers are mastered. How do we play upon their being mastered? Okay? We're going to create a sale. Because why? Because nobody buys unless there's a sale. So let's just create one. So why not, we might have bought the stuff from the supplier for 10. Let's just mark it up to $100 and have a new release. It could be a shirt, it could be a sweater, it could be some shoes, whatever it is. But then we say, all right, well then we just slash it and throw a big slash sign in the screen and have a big red sign in the door and put it down to $50. $50 to have a 50% off blowout sale. So now we're still making 400% profit, but we have a 50% off blowout sale. So now everybody comes running because we just created a sale. Because these folks have been mastered into thinking that a sale is actually something that's beneficial. And nobody buys unless there's a sale, so let's just create it. Oldest strategy in the book, Black Friday. People waiting outside in line just to have the privilege of spending money, thinking that another sale is never going to come. But as we've seen in the papers, and every time we print out coupons, it's always another sale. It's always another sale. So what do they do? So we're going to have guilt. How can that be a strategy? Well, you go into the store, try on a pair of shoes. What happens next? We'll try on some more shoes. Okay, they run in the back, they come out, they have all these shoes in their hand, they sit down, and what do next? You want to try on some more shoes. They go in the back and they come out with more shoes. Why? Why are they so willing to give you more? Is it just because it could be customer service? Oh, it could be. Could be. Or do they know that you've been mastered into thinking that guilt could be a good strategy? That, this person's been in the back of that room a whole lot of time. I need to buy something. Or they may have a sales strategy the day before saying the more you let them try on, the more likely they're going to buy some shoes. So let them try on as many shoes as possible. They've been mastered into thinking that guilt. Let them think that it's guilty. Or impulse. They know that we have to be the first in line. Impulse. We saw it here. This is impulse. This is the extreme example of impulse. Or it could be not so extreme example. They know that people in the Bronx don't shop at the Macy's in Brooklyn, and vice versa. So what do? They have a sale at the Brooklyn store. Everybody comes and running to the Brooklyn store to have a sale of that new cashmere sweater. But what do? They actually decrease the supply of that cashmere sweater to maybe about 20%, and they ship most of the sweaters up to the run in the Bronx. So when everybody comes and running to the sale of that new sweater, sweater's gone. First person to think, oh, doggone it, I missed the sale. How can I not have seen this sale? I can't believe I missed the sale. Next time they have a sale, I'm going to be the first person in line. So now you're feeling guilty that you missed the sale, and now you're essentially saying that you are. It's just like these folks were saying. Don't go to no more size 10s. I'm going to be the first person in line to give you $300 to buy those shoes. They decrease the supply. They ship stuff to the store, and they got you in the store. So now you're here, so what do people don't normally do when they go in the store? They normally buy something. Okay? The lure strategy is a lot of things. Why do you think they're playing the favorite song when you're walking by? They got the songs. They've done aromas on scents and aromas of what draws and attracts you to buy things. So they understand that these are the type of things that make you spend money. Never shop when you're emotional. Never shop if you're too happy or too sad. You've all seen it. Individuals say, man, I can't believe that man is no good. Let's go shopping. I can't believe you just lost that basketball game, or you just got a new promotion. Let's go shop. Let's take him out to eat.
Didn't Blue Cantrell make a hit based on that?
Maybe. Could be.
Hit 'em up style.
It could be. But this is what's going on. And again, if we are being mastered, we're thoroughly being mastered by what's going on here. Now, let's talk about credit. That's always a big topic. See, the word really goes into credit. I think the understanding that, I think the word gets specific on credit even. It says in Deuteronomy 15, 1 and 2. Now check this out. This is actually amazing to me. At the end of every 7 years, you must cancel debts. This is how it is to be done. Every creditor shall cancel the loan he has made to his fellow Israelite. He shall not require payment from his fellow Israelite or brother, because the Lord's time for canceling debt has been proclaimed. Now, how many years do most debts are allowed to be on your report before you're allowed to take them off your report? 7 years. It's almost as if they were reading the Bible as they were creating different laws on how to pay debt. Okay? And again, it's a beautiful thing to understand it, because a lot of folks always get the trick question of, if you have a credit card debt on your report that's in 2001 and it's for over $5,000, and it's 2013, you haven't made a payment or any activity since 2001, what's your first line of action? A lot of folks will say you got to call a negotiator, you got to do this and that. Well, the first line of action is to actually remove from your report. Now, we're Christians in here, so I want to also remind folks you can't just pick and choose which word, that we follow. Because it also says in Romans 13, 7 and 8, give to everyone what you owe them. If you owe taxes, pay taxes. If revenue, then revenue. If respect, then respect. If honor, then honor. Let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another. For whoever loves others has fulfilled the law. It's Romans 13, 7, 8. So if anyone says that after 7 years, I don't have to pay off my debt, well, the word says otherwise. But we can use the word in order to remove things from our report until we are in a more favorable position to pay the debt off. Now, just because you remove stuff from your report don't mean you're not going to pay it. Okay? That's what I always say. I say, listen, you got a piece of debt on there for 2001. You still want to pay it? Okay, I respect that. Remove it from your report, save up on the side till you get enough money, then call them up and pay it. But in the meanwhile, you got to get your FICO score high. You got to start repairing your credit. And an easy way to repair credit, as recorded again, Deuteronomy 15, 1 and 2, if you go to stuff like annualcreditreport.com, which is a great website, annualcreditreport.com, annualcreditreport.com. First thing you want to do when repairing your credit, go to annualcreditreport.com. Then, everyone gets a free report at least once a year from Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. It's free. You might want to even go ahead and pay for the second report just to make sure you can get your, regular reporting. There's been a lot of cases of identity theft. Okay. So, well, Ryan, now, this is how they figure out that FICO has a way, 35% of your FICO score is paying your bills on time. I think 30% is your balance to lending limit ratio. 15% length of credit history. 10% is additional inquiries. And the last 10% is the mix of types of debt on your report. All right, let's go through one by one. So, paying your bills on time. Let no debt remain unpaid except for debt to love one another. Paying your bills on time is 35%. One of the best ways to establish credit is by paying your bills on time. It's a great book out there by David Bach, Automated Millionaire. It's a great book. I highly recommend it because it really talks about how when you automate everything, what it does is now, I do not advocate that you automate everything if you do not have a sound budget or have a good track record of your spending. Because what happens is, sporadic income, you don't necessarily know, so next thing you know, you've got this debt and you've got no money in your account and stuff you're trying to pull from your account, overdrawn, all that stuff. So you want to make sure you have a good budget and have a good system in place to be able to automate everything. But paying your bills on time is a great way to help establish your credit. Balance to lending limit ratio. This essentially how much you owe compared to how much you have the ability to borrow. So if you owe $5,000, can borrow $10,000, that 50% figure is 30% of your FICO score. Length of credit history. Sometimes individuals say, well, Ryan, I don't have any credit. So I've got perfect credit because I don't have any credit. So mine is perfect. Well, that's not true. Because no credit is bad credit. Okay? No credit is bad credit. And you want to make sure that you have some sort of history. There's great ways to establish history. You want to make sure you have a bank. Anybody here not have a bank account? Oh, you don't have to use it. If there's anybody here that does not have a bank account, get a bank account. I'm a strong advocate of credit unions. Good credit union. I'm a strong advocate of credit unions and banks that are smaller local community banks. A lot of times the larger banks are not personal, but the smaller local banks and the credit unions have a vested interest in the local economy. They have a vested interest in giving you a loan, a vested interest in making sure you get a good bank account and getting on your feet. All right, so there's a movement called Move Your Money movement to credit unions, and I'm a strong advocate of finding a local credit union. You can join a credit union for a policeman or a fire officer. You know, if you just know someone that's in the credit union, and they'll let you join. You know, so there's a lot of good programs. They have a lot of loan builder programs, credit builder programs. I'm a strong advocate of that. So definitely, if you don't have a bank account, get a bank account. If there's anybody in here using these, let's go down. Can you go down to the next slide down, I think? If there's anybody in here using any of these things, please stop. Okay? It's called, our people suffer for lack of knowledge and wisdom. There's a reason that these things exist in our communities. Okay? They exist because, okay, there is money in ignorance. Okay? For things that you do not know, there's somebody out there who wants to make money off of what you do not know. Okay? So, for anyone that is out of work and you watch television, you probably will see Russell Simmons pop up on the television screen. And they time it at the right times. They time it late at night or during the day, when people are highly susceptible for not being at work or up late or whatever it is, because they want those individuals. And everyone in this room can get a bank account. I don't care how many checks you bounced. I don't care what your credit rating. I don't care what it is. Everyone can get a bank account. We've done it. We've taken some of the worst folks that we've been bouncing checks. We've taken homeless folks and had to get the bank accounts. We've taken, yeah.
Could you point out, because some of these are not as clear in regards to what they're advertising,
Okay.
and I know in regards to say cartel loans and cash advances, but in regards to like the Kardashians, in regards to the AM
Yeah.
New York, and the one in the very bottom, it's not really clear what they
Well,
are.
we have here let's go further up, the car title loan. The car title loan was created because, again, all of these loans are created because they know people want money. And they want it no matter what is attached to it. They could care less where it came from or what it's attached to. If they got money in their hand, they feel good. Having money in your hand makes people feel good. And this is what they've understood this. Having things, having possessions makes people feel good. So let's give it to them. If they have a car title loan. Well, how do we get them to have money? Well, these people don't have any money, but they might have cars, so we can make them take loans out on their title. And so we're going to take loans out on their title, but we're not going to tell them it's attached to a 200 to 300% interest rate with fees attached to it. We're not going to tell it to them. So, but they want money because they want the money. Whatever you cannot walk away from his master. They're slaves to what has mastered them. They're slaves to the money. For the love of money is the root of all evil. They love the money so much that they will do anything in order to get evil attached to it. They could care less. So we're going to give them the title loan. Russell Simmons, Kim Kardashian. They got this thing called prepaid debit cards. Now, does anybody here use a Rush card?
No.
Well, you might not want to admit it, but that's fine. Or any prepaid debit card. This is essentially saying to you that I am going to charge you for you using your own money. Where does that make sense? It only makes sense because they put Russell Simmons on the card. And it makes sense because they put Kardashians on the card with the cleavage hanging out. You see what I'm saying? And even Tom Jordan has one. Okay, Lil Wayne has one. You know, they got the little stuff on. So, Lil Wayne's not on here. Lil Wayne has one. George, and again, it's not just black and white. They got George Lopez has one. Justin Bieber has one. Susie Orman has one. Yeah.
What exactly is the process of
The process of a prepaid debit card is you apply for this Visa card with a Visa logo. That's how that gets you. You get this Visa logo. You do the American dream is to have. It's always they're tied to something that's bigger than life. The American dream. Live the American dream. Get yourself a Visa logo on this prepaid card, this Rush card, this Kamora Lee Simmons card, and you might take $300 and you put it on this card, and you get your first statement back, and it says $275. You said, well, what the heck did I didn't spend it? Well, it costs a price to get the card, a price to check your balance, a price to monthly fee on the card. It costs. There's all these fees that just racks up, and racks up, and racks up. And if you lose a card, some people actually have accounts and they transfer from one account to the next account, so that costs fees. And while somebody would have a regular bank account and this account at the same time, they have no clue. But they're out there. People exist out there. So they will make you spend money to have your own money. And that's because we're not knowledgeable of the other things that exist of what else we can do. Like go to a credit union and get a debit card for free. Like get a secured card. Just the thing about the prepaid debit card is it costs money and it does not help you establish credit. So the exact same thing that you can do with a secured card, you go to bankrate.com, you can go to asmarterchoice.org. Smarterchoice.org is a great site to find a local credit union right in your area. Bankrate.com is a great website to go to get a secured card with no fees attached to it. A secured card essentially is tied to a line of credit. So anytime the thing about a secured card is you swipe it through the grocery store. With a secured card, you have to put money up as collateral. You give the money, $200 to the bank. Here's $200. The bank holds your money, yeah, but they give you your money back. They just hold it as collateral, so you can borrow against your money. And as you borrow against it, every time you make that payment back, just like a regular credit card, it'll help you establish credit. 35% of your FICO score is paying your bills on time. As you pay your bill on time, you establish credit. The rush card is the same thing as using your own money. It establishes no credit, and you end up wasting your money, making him rich, but your tower is not being built. Okay? So, Rent-A-Center is another site that I'm always... You want to pay $7,000 for a toaster, and go ahead and go to Rent-A-Center.
What?
It's crazy. I mean, that's the example. No, seriously, it is $7,000 for a $2,000 television. That's I did a real study on Rent-A-Center. I went to the Rent-A-Center and looked at their prices, and I essentially looked at what they're charging. And Rent-A-Center, again, they are non-discriminatory. They got Troy Aikman and Hulk Hogan for the white folks.
Yes.
They got Magic Johnson
Points to me.
for the brothers.
Why?
Why
me?
But they just non-discriminatory. Hulk Hogan, they got Magic Johnson for the brothers.
For those of us who don't know what a rent-a-center is,
Rent-A-Center is essentially, they are playing upon the fact that we have this need for instant gratification. We have to own things now. So what they'll do is they'll say, come in here, you want a nice television? We actually did a public housing tour. And I'm going to tell you, in this public housing tour, a lot of folks inside public housing have nicer televisions than I do. Okay? And how do they have it? Rent-A-Center. They say, set it up, they pay $50, $60 a week, and you'll be able to own this television. And then they have the worry-free guarantee. Worry-free guarantee. Which to me says, don't worry, if you skip a payment, they're going to send that Rent-A-Center truck out and get their television back. Don't even worry about it. And I'm telling you, but we have this need. We have been mastered by the need for things. Okay? No need to do I grew up on a black and white television with the pliers, and the rabbit ears. My brother had to hold the antenna, and the commercial was my turn to hold the antenna, so we could both watch it. We had back and forth, and my mother was sitting there chilling, saying, I'll pay the bills for electricity, y'all gonna help me watch TV. So we had to go back and forth, and sometimes we would skip the channel U and didn't know that we didn't know what channel U was because we got throwing the knobs around and all that stuff, so we didn't know what channel it was on. But that's the TV that we watched. That was not a Rent-A-Center television. Rent-A-Center television, big screen television, $50 a week. And it really, when you tell them the price to actually own it, they say you can actually own it. You paid $7,000 for a $2,000 television.
What?
Yes. I'm telling you, I'll send an article. I did a study on it. And then you have the rapid refund. Oh boy, they get it now. I'm telling you, the rapid refund loan, over 60, I think, what's the stat? Over 60% of everyone who got a rapid refund was also eligible for an earned income tax credit, meaning that most people who get the rapid refund checks from your taxes are essentially considered to be lower income and lower. What does that mean? That means that they are targeting individuals in poorer communities, especially for people that say, "You want your check right now? You want to file your taxes? You can get your check today. You don't have to wait for it." Wow. They say, "Boy, this is great. Really? So I can just walk out of here with it." He says, we estimate that your return could be $1,000. You can get a $1,000 check right now. Wow, I can get a check? Yeah, sure. They write you the check, you file out the paperwork, and then when you get your real return, that really comes in at only $600, so they were $400 off. Then you say, "Well, wait a minute. So I got $600. How much do I owe this return?" "Well, you owe $1,300 because it's 2 to 300% interest rate attached to that with the fees and all that stuff. Because you had to pay us for that money. We get to charge you at usually a normal high level of interest because we have fees, we have high interest, and so now you thought you were going to get 1,000. You got 1,000. You got 600 for your return, but you spent that up already. So now you got to pay back 1,300. You're still on the hook because of rapid refund. We need the money. For the love of money is the root of all evil. We need that money. They got Montel Williams on there, Money Mutual. Payday loans, cash advances, payday loans, money. That's at the top. You know, is that people want money. They feel that in their hands, but they don't think about the ramifications. Like rapid refund, electronic deposit, 8 days later you get the same check in your account, deposited directly. Maybe a little bit longer than that, but usually about 8 days you get that return to come back. And it goes right in your account. You don't have to pay 300% interest rate. You just have to wait 8 days for it. But they know that, so you know what, they don't want to wait 8 days. Let's give them that rapid refund. So we can make sure that we can make our money off of their instant need, their stuff that they've been mastered off of. And then the check cash in place. You know, hopefully nobody in this room is using check. If you're using a check cash in place, please stop. You're paying them 1 to 5% of your check. I know it's a lot of folks, especially in acting. I know it's a lot of you live check to check. You don't have the money to be giving all these folks 5% of your check every time you cash it. It just don't make no sense. It just does not make sense. Okay, so, but these are things. I mean, a lot of the new bank these days is the pawn shop. Sad to say, the pawn shop is getting a lot of business from neighborhoods, man. And we used to say impoverished community. Impoverished community is becoming broader and broader. A lot of folks that were middle class are now part of that low income class. I saw a stat the other day that the minimum, about 20% of the jobs lost, over 60% of the jobs lost in this recession were mid-wage jobs. But most of the jobs that are gained back are low-wage jobs. So, but the mid-wage jobs still exist. But so a lot of the disparity of income is really going along, but these things were created to capitalize off of disparity of income. Okay, so it's really just it's a thing we have to understand. So that's any questions on credit? That's
What's the reach? I have a question, but it's not on credit. What's the author for that book again?
Larry Burkett. Yeah, Larry Burkett. Larry Burkett, Word on Finance. Word on Finance. The Reach card is just the same thing as the Rush card. Same thing, it's just another company. And again, that's equal opportunity. They got George Lopez for the Hispanics, Susie Orman for the middle-aged folks that have to know about Susie Orman, Justin Bieber for the young pop folks. Kim Kardashian, but she got booted out because her fees are way too high. They got Russell Simmons for the hip hop community, Lil Wayne for the gangster community. So I mean, they really create different people for all different types of things. Okay. So now, any other questions on credit?
Yes. How can you talk about credit in terms of, what can you do with your student loan to rehabilitate your credit? Is there anything?
Best way to win your student loan is pay. But this is what I'll say about student loans. With your student loan, you need to be cautious about how you go about paying it. First of all, you need to know that just because you deferment of student loans is the best thing for the banks. Banks love when people defer student loans. Because more you defer your student loans, that interest still accumulates. And it's an easy way for the bank to make money when they don't have to do anything for the loan. A lot of times people think if I defer student loans, that everything just stops. No, the interest still tallies. So just because you defer don't mean things are not tallying. But also, when you're going to figure out how you're going to consolidate your student loans, you need to ask the right questions. Okay? You need to ask, and FedCalc.com is a great website to help you consolidate student loans. Figure out if it's the right thing for you to do. FedCalc.com. Now, I understand that a lot of times you might graduate, you got private loans, you got government loans, you got all, like 5, 6 different types of loans all over the place. It's like, Ryan, look, I had to consolidate. I couldn't afford all the loans at one time, but I went to a place, I consolidated them, they put them together. Or you're asking, can I go to a place to consolidate them? One, when you go to get your loans consolidated, ask the right questions. How much is it costing you? You know, sometimes people actually think that they're saving money on the monthly payment when they're not actually saving any money. You might get I've seen a deal where they had so many student loans all over the place, and they were paying net about $500 a month on student loans. And at the consolidation, they're paying about $530 a month on student loans. But because it was with this one payment, they thought they were actually saving. But in many cases, though, I've seen a lot of cases where they're paying $600, $700 a month. They get it consolidated, and it ends up being about $300. And in that case, they're saving money. But also understand that the interest is going to be over a longer period of time. You're going to pay out more money over time. But if you're saving money, when you get yourself in a better situation, a better position, you're paying $300, you're going to pay $600, cool. When you have the ability to pay $600, pay the $600 so you can get it done.
How viable is filing bankruptcy when you have, say, a lot of student loans and maybe a lot of credit card loans because of going to school?
Well, in student loans, a lot about student loans is that there's legislation that they're trying to create to stop that, but student loans really don't apply under bankruptcy.
Okay.
For the other types of debt, it could be, but just understand, again, in most cases, I created a bankruptcy course in 2004, in 2005, 2005, 7 years. I created a bankruptcy course. And as a part, it's kind of unfair because corporations still can declare bankruptcy. It's a way that they go about doing things. Not to use draw a diagram of how they do it. They form these, even Donald Trump, people say, we declare bankruptcy. Donald Trump is not declared bankruptcy. It's corporations have. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. He's gaming the system. Well, everybody has access to these rules. Not saying we have access, everybody has access to the rules. But it is a little bit unfair that corporations can declare bankruptcy. But when individuals want to declare bankruptcy, they make people take the course. So people have to be responsible for corporations' job. So it is a little bit lopsided, but nonetheless, I said, you know what? And most people that came through that course were able to pay off all their debt when we had to put together a plan. We sat down, put together a plan, and most people, there are cases that on my time, I'm not gonna sit back and say I'm standing on loans and things are perfect. There are cases where I'm like, man, it's hard for me to say that it's very hard. There's only been two folks in the 8 years that I said, okay, I can understand these things. But and tens and tens of other folks that said, no, let's put together a plan. And a lot of times people get so intimidated. And the thing is, you don't write out your debt. I don't understand how people can't write out their debt. This is the thing. When you put together your debts, to sit down house in order, you know that tomorrow home. So that's in the word, So when you're talking about your debt, you need to have a structure.
I have a question. You just related to the 10%, the additional inquiries.
Or additional inquiries.
And the mix.
The mix of types of debt.
Yeah, I just wanted you to expound on that.
Oh, additional inquiries, 10% every time you apply for a new credit card. If you're on a plane and they say, hey, you get a free frequent flyer miles to fill out this new application to get this credit card, just know your FICO score goes down 5 or 6 points.
And the mix.
The mixture of types of debt, they look at the overall gauge of the 10 different types of debt. Does he have too much high risk debt, credit cards? Do you have too much collection on your debt? So they look at that and they calculate the overall score based on the types of debt that you have. So when you're structuring your debt, okay, we should be able to have, again, you got 1, 2. You should have the amount owed, the company name, their due date, you have the interest rate, you should have the minimum due, telephone number, what else? Just structure your debt this way. It's an easy way to do it. You got to, and then you put the largest debt on the top, smallest on the bottom.
Should you base it on percentage or actual debt amount total?
Good question. What I used to do is based upon mathematically how much is owed, how much you're paying on that debt.
Mm.
So I used to, let's just say you got $5,000 on the top, so you owe $5K for this one, but only owe $100 for this one. So that $5K and the interest rate of, let's say 5% or whatever, you're paying on, and let's say that $5K and 13% interest rate, that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So what I used to do is start tackling that first.
Okay.
But what I found out was that people got more motivated when they started tackling the smaller debts first.
Okay.
And they could eliminate it.
Okay.
And they see the overall progress of being able that people like when they can do this on their sheet, they love that. And you can cross a debt out on your sheet,
Mm-hmm.
they love that.
Mm-hmm.
And that motivates them to keep going. Where before they had 5 pieces of debt that you owed, now only have 4.
Right.
And now only have 3. So they love that. So what you want to do is the snowball method is essentially, let's just say, now you got your debt calculated, right?
Mm-hmm.
First thing you just start doing is not paying. First thing you got to do is start calling every single one and get this interest rate down. There's no such thing as a debt that's not negotiable. I don't care if it says non-negotiable.
How can you do that with them not closing the account? Because a lot of companies will, if you want to renegotiate your percentage, they'll say, well, we could do that, but we'd have to freeze your account or such.
Well, some of them lower. I mean, we've got a lot of interest rates lowered just because, we've asked or requested and say we've been paying this rate on time.
Mhm.
We've been a good, viable paying customer.
Mhm.
Can we we're really trying to pay this debt down?
Mhm.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Okay. But it's still worthwhile.
Oh,
Someone's company?
yeah, come.
I was trying to read the search just because.
I'm sorry.
And the last one, the number sign?
Phone number.
No, phone number,
Oh, phone.
telephone number.
Yeah, because the thing is, I know that it becomes imperative when you want to rebuild your credit score to still have credit, even if you are paying it down, because once you have it eliminated, it becomes that much harder
Well,
to.
to pay down the debt, I mean, even if that line is still open,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean they're gonna close it all the time. You know what I'm saying? But they might be. I mean, in most cases,
Mm-hmm.
because I used to be as a budget counselor. I'm another plug. Crown Financial Ministries, crown.org. They have free credit counseling services for using biblical principles. I don't do it anymore. I don't have the time to do it. But you can go to crown.org and find a credit counselor in the area to walk through your credit. And we write letters on behalf of individuals, and we'll go. I mean, I was on the phone fighting days and days and days with folks, doing just this with folks. So I mean, a lot of times it would work. One time we had a case, a woman had Alzheimer's and onset of Alzheimer's, so we were really trying to hustle hard because it was kind of a sad thing because we knew that we had to get her in a better situation. Because down the line, if that Alzheimer's progressed, she would
Right.
not be able to work any longer. So
Right.
that debt would have really just crucified the family. So I was like, we got to get this down. Let's just get it together. So we were able to get at least 3 of her credit cards lowered. We got like a 17% down to like 12. That was a big dog too. That was a Chase. That was a big one. And we got another one out. We saved her like $200-300 a month in overall payments, and just by calling. And we had to call. And again, when you're calling, okay, I'm gonna give you some. Always like giving. When you're calling, you need to be able to make sure you call at the right time, right? Now, best time to call and negotiate with these folks are at the end of the month, okay? Because they are collecting commission, and many times if you want to negotiate with these folks, you want to make sure that you give, they want to collect the commission and they're more prone to give you a good deal. Always remember, paid in full means more than settled. Meaning that if you owe $5,000 and you say, hey man, I'll pay you $2,500 on it. If they put settled on your report, your FICO score is not going to go up as high as it would as if they put paid in full. So you can ask them to say, hey, I want to pay $2,500, but I would like as a part of this deal to say paid in full in my report.
Have you ever seen someone, like if you're at accounts and collections and you do negotiate, have you seen them wipe it off the report completely for people?
Yeah. If you dispute it, disputing a report is one of the fastest ways to get things removed.
Okay. So dispute it through the credit bureau?
Through the credit bureau if you really want to be thorough about it, usually I would just do it on the site. If you really want to be thorough, you do it online. You go on the annual credit report. They have little boxes you can check. You dispute the reason for, and then you can dispute it via a letter as well.
So so in that case, say if you have something on collections, right, or account collections, and say you paid off the debt, you settled it, but the collections agency reports it as like paid in full. So could you get it removed that way, like by disputing it, or would you have to talk to the creditor once you're settling?
Wait, so you're saying that something's
Okay, so say for instance you have something in collections, okay? And then you want to make a settlement with the collections agency.
Okay.
And so at that point, if you say, okay, I want to settle my debt with you, an agreement that you'll remove this from my credit report. So I'm asking, will the collection agency remove that from the credit report, or do you suggest disputing it with the attorney?
Well, this is the thing, negative marks stay on your report for 7 years, positive things for 10. So even if you pay it off, it's still gonna be on your report. You know, if you pay it down and say, hey man, I'm gonna pay you if I pay you $2,500, it's $5,000. That's a settlement. Now, I've had it done before, not all the time, but I have had it done before where I've been able to say, hey, listen, we got $2,500 in cash. It's in the month. I know you want to get your check, your commission check. Let's put $2,500 on it and put paid in full as a part of the deal, and it's put paid in full. They wrote down paid in full on that thing, right? But it's still going to be on your report because it's a transaction. So it's a native thing. It's going to stay on there for the next 7 years. Yeah.
What do you think of the plan to pay off one credit card that is like has a lower rate and then transferring payment transferring credit from the higher paying card to the other one? Or would you say it would be better to just try to negotiate with the high interest card?
Well, you're talking about transferring debt from and transferring. Well, before you transfer, one question that they ask is, are there any fees for transferring? Another question you have to ask is that new interest rate that you're going to get that new credit card applicable for transfer accounts? A lot of times they're not. Another thing you have to consider is that sometimes people use this whole transfer from one card to the next thing as an excuse to not pay. I'm paying 0%, I can transfer to the next one. This 0% expires in 6 months. So in 5 months and 29 days, I'm going to take this account and go to the next 0% card. You know, and I've seen a lot of folks do that.
No. This is all like a payment off thing, like paying off the lower debt, so it's like nothing with that card is clear, and then transferring from the higher paying, the higher.
Well, that's what this is here, right? What I would do is largest debt on the top, smallest on the bottom. You got your budget, and from your budget, you say I got $200 left over every month that I can afford to put down towards my debt. You start paying that smaller piece of debt off, you start canceling debts one at a time. So as you cancel this smallest piece of debt, that let's say that minimum due was $50 on this smaller piece of debt. Your minimum due, $50, that debt's gone, now your surplus becomes $250. Because your surplus was $200, you paid off the smallest piece of debt, now it's $250. Now you just go up to the next smallest piece of debt. Okay?
And add it to that one.
And just use your surplus to start paying off this next smallest piece of debt.
But
So-
you don't. But unless like if I couldn't manage to get the same rate with the lower rate card, you do recommend that I get that transfer thing done or no?
Well, again, if you're transferring in such a way where essentially you're asking them, and hey, Mr. Credit Card A, I know I'm paying $5,000 on credit card. I got 10%. I got 13% on credit card A. But credit card B, I'm only paying 10. Let me just transfer everything to credit card B and see what happens. If you can, I mean, that's an ideal situation. If you can do it without additional fees and you get the lowest rate collectively, and using websites like fincalc.com to see exactly how much it would cost, I mean, sure, yeah. I mean, that's actually very prudent. You know, but you know, the question is, especially with a lot of transfers, how much is that interest rate going to be on the next transfer over? You just want to make sure that you ask the right, in that situation, ask the right questions. Okay, is it going to cost me to because again, if they're going to have fees for transferring from one account to the next, and those fees eventually make you end up paying a whole lot more money than the interest rate that you would have gotten from it. It's almost like, you know, like the question of refinancing a piece of property. You know, how long is it going to take you to pay off the debt? Then you get into the question of time value of money. How long is it going to take you to pay off the debt? How long do you have any windfalls of money coming in soon where you just pay that everything out anyway? So all those things come into play in terms of whether doing that. If the math works and you're not tying yourself on to any sort of deals or sort of bells and whistles that make you prudent or whatever, then, but also understand as well, when you transfer one to another, some accounts might cancel themselves for inactivity. Keep that in mind. Every time an account cancels, your FICO score goes down.
I thought you just said when you get a new card and you lose 5 points.
Yeah, it does. They get you on the front and the back. They get you coming and going. If you apply, this is their rationale. If you apply for a new card, they perceive that as added additional risk, so your FICO score goes down. But you don't even have to get the card; you just have to apply for it. But your balance to your lending limit ratio is 30% of your score. So if you've had an account open for some time and an account cancels, your balance to your lending limit ratio becomes less favorable because you're less able to borrow as much as you once could. So they still perceive you to have more risk, so your FICO score goes down.
Okay, so you're saying leave a little money on the one figure.
Well,
Completely.
I mean, if you can still use them. But I say, especially credit cards, use them. Go to the grocery store. I mean, most folks will have at least maybe 2 credit cards. Now all this other stuff is now. I don't have a Macy's card up here, but all the other like consumer card stuff, you should have on 2 cards, Visa, American Express, or something like that, or whatever. But all these consumer type cards are just a waste of money, designed purely to make you spend more money. There's a reason that they give you plastic chips in the casino, because it does not make you think you're spending money. It feels like you're not just throwing chips away. You don't think it's your money. Same concept with credit cards. That's why an individual is more likely to spend 35% more dollars just because they have a credit card. So if you use his credit card, Macy's and all that stuff, if you have too many of them, what I would say, you got a lot of folks that say, I got like 8 credit cards, Ryan. I say, listen, take the cards, the Macy's, all the junk type card, cancel one, wait 6 months, and cancel another. Wait 6 months, and get to the point where you can have at least, your emergency fund should be 9 to 12 months living expenses, 6 months cash, and then 3 to 6 months in a line of credit. Okay? And the line of, let's just say it costs you, your living expenses is $1,500. Your line of credit should be at least $4,500 to sustain yourself for at least 3 months in case of emergency. Alright? So they get you going and coming. If you apply for a new card, your score goes down. You cancel a card, your score goes down. That's how it is.
So we have to start wrapping up.
Okay.
We want to say just some last words.
Okay, well look, can you go to the last slide?
We're just a quarter through. What are you talking
Huh?
about? We're just a quarter through.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. Ryan, this is so good. We need to have you back for round 2.
Ain't nothing wrong. So,
Where's the next 6 steps? Maybe have a 6-part workshop.
this is, actually, shoot, I've done the 16-week courses and stuff. But, you see, I'm an adjunct professor. This is, like, I try to shorten it up in a couple hours. But, James 2:14 is what makes this slide valuable to me. And I think that exemplifies what financial literacy is really all about, okay? What do you see when you see this slide?
With that victory or sadness?
This is Hurricane Katrina.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was down there 7 months afterwards. It was still a war zone.
Mm-hmm. So, if it's emotion, y'all are actors, y'all talk about emotions all the time. Pain, agony, defeat. This is what's going on, and this is why I do what I do, and I hope that Christians. This is why Christians do what you do, whatever it is that you do it, because there is pain out there, right? And James 2:14 says, "What good is it, my brothers, if a man claims to have faith but hath no deeds? Can such faith save him with no deeds?" I like that. "If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, if one of you says to him, 'Go, I wish you well, keep warm and well fed,' but does nothing about his physical needs, what good is it?" That's powerful, man. It makes me think about all the times that I call them well-wishers,
Mm-hmm.
well-wishers. "Oh, good, go, you'll be fine. Go, I wish you well, I wish you well. Go get them, But they're not doing anything to really help them besides wishing them well. You're not helping anybody by just being, yeah, you're helping confidence, and it's great to say, go, I wish, But what good are you really doing if you're not helping somebody? You're not, getting in the trenches, and you're not, I just think this is one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible, and I think about this, and financial literacy, what it does is this allows us to put ourselves in a better position to fix that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can fix that. You going down there 7 months ago because you could do it.
It was 7 months post.
Oh, 7 months after that? Because you can do it. What if you were battling foreclosure when you're stressed out, or you were kicked out of your crib because you
Baby's
couldn't?
mamas.
Yeah, all the you know what I'm saying? But you wouldn't have been there. But because, we allowed us to put in the right place, this is what financial literacy is all about, And, we just, I guess, let me see here. In closing, I'll just say we need to help folks out, and just make sure that we know that this slide is my favorite slide, because this is what I do. Like, we have a lot of gang members, we have a lot of homeless folks do what they do, and it's only because God has helped me, put me in a better position that I can help others. And this is what Christians do. This is the Christian creed.
Yes.
This is what we're supposed to be here for.
Yeah.
This is not for us. Our journey in Elijah the Tishbite talks about in 2 Kings, one of my favorite stories, about the story with the widow's child and how Elijah started his journey. He started his journey, and God was directing his steps all along the way. The crow fed him at the brook of Zarephath, and all these things, until he finally got to this place where every time he would leave a place, he would become destitute. Every time he would leave that place, there would be lack of resources, just as he was leaving. So it's like right on time. He was like, God is right on time. And just until the time he finally got to the final place where this widow's child, and the widow said, I don't have any food, and bang, they got food, And the widow's like, well, we're preparing to die. And Elijah's like, no, I'm preparing you for life. So he put the child up to the hair and said, breathe, and the child basically died, but he said, no, breathe life to this child. And so the story really exemplifies the journey of him, Elijah being one of the most powerful prophets in the Old Testament, the journey of him getting to his final destination, not because of what Elijah had coming to him, but because of what he can do for the widow's child. And that's what the walk of Christianity, to me, is all about. It's not about, at the end, there's someone waiting on you to breathe life into them. And that's what she exemplifies, that, and as actors, this is what you all do. Y'all breathe life into people through your craft, you breathe life into people through your effort, what you're doing, and people are inspired, they're happy, and it's like, wow, they leave, and it's a whole new mindset, but you can't do it if you're broke.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
If you're worried about money all the time, then you're not going to be able to focus on your craft as much as you should be, and then everybody loses out. So that's what's up.
And maybe tell them quickly how your financial preparation allowed you to have the freedom to walk away from a job and really pursue what you
Oh yeah, I was on Wall Street, and I was luckily, by the grace of God, I started to save money to buy a new home, and that new home ended up being, my aunt called me to say, Ryan, what is a stock? I realized my family didn't know about stocks, so I said, well, I want to go into financial planning so I can teach my community about stocks. But then the community, the guy Merrill Lynch said, well, unless you only work with high net worth individuals, everybody else is a waste of time. Then I read in Proverbs 3:27 and said, do not withhold good from others if they deserve it, when it's in your power to act. So I didn't want to withhold good for anybody that deserved it, because I had the power to make a difference and make a change. So I started my own business, but I wouldn't have been able to start my own business unless I was saving. So the saving became my company fund. The company fund allowed me to sustain myself for the next 12 months. I got my first check August 28, 2005, and that was after 11 and a half months of just finally saving. I was pretty much broke back then, but so it really just was a walk of budgeting, planning my business, and I think as actors, I think it's very important to look at your craft as a business. I think it's very important, and one thing, if I can give some constructive criticism about what actors do not do, is you do not publicize yourselves well. I see a lot of actors doing a lot of great things, but nobody knows about it. And, there's nothing wrong with telling folks what y'all are doing and using things like Hootsuite.com to set up different social media where y'all can do stuff. That adds money to your pocket so people can come see your show and spread your message. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I'm doing this great show on Friday and you should come see it because you will be blessed. There's nothing wrong with that, man. So I just wanted to, but that and along with other things and treating it like a business, but it was really because of my principles that I allowed myself to have the freedom. And budgeting is a freeing thing. It's something that allows you to be free. If you use your money wisely, you can put money down, and even if you're not making a whole lot of money, and the money is sporadic, you can still keep accurate account and measure where your money is going. Budgeting is just as much about looking at where your money went as opposed to trying to figure out where it's going to go, because it might be sporadic, it might be crazy, but where was it? What did you spend your money on? But what is consistent? Why are you spending so much money on going out to eat every other day? How come you can't cook? Well, dang, I don't know what I'm gonna make next month, but I know I spent a whole lot of money on clothes last month. I don't know where my next check is gonna come from, but I know that I spent a whole lot of money on going out to eat, and we went to clothes and hanging out on. How much I spent to bar on Friday nights? Cause I'm going out and hanging and haven't felt. Wait a minute, I'm about to spend that much money there. So budgeting is just as much as what you did as much as what you're gonna do, and it helps you to kind of put everything in perspective. So I would not be here unless I budgeted, And Lord knows, when I first started, I had no sort of sporadic, I had no sort of gauge where my money was coming from. For that next check, and nothing was coming from. I was broke, and just, lights getting turned off and the whole thing. So yeah.
Ryan, could you share a little bit of your contact information?
Yeah.
How we can find out more
Last
about
slide.
you? How we can learn from you or maybe take a class from you?
It's
Yeah,
on the last
last slide.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I guess I do have a couple copies if y'all want to buy the book. Y'all, I do have a couple copies to sell here at $20 a piece. I have no shame in it.
What's the name of the book?
Living in the Village. Or y'all can get it online, however, whatever's most comfortable.
Available on Kindle?
Ryan, is this your book?
Yeah, it's my
Come on,
book.
Ryan, plug your book.
Huh?
Okay.
Or Living in the Village. It's about financial literacy. It's all 7 steps. Or you can email me as well, and I can send you a packet. I have this packet with all the 7 steps listed in it. But the book is about. I tried to write a book that wasn't as boring as other financial planning books. But and I figured that okay, so if it's not going to be as boring as the other books, it can't be all me. So I got to put testimonies in it. So in this book are 13 testimonies of people who have used financial literacy to overcome adversity, whether it be a gang member, a single parent, a teacher, a construction worker, whatever, a formerly incarcerated guy. They've used financial literacy to overcome adversity, and I kind of tell you how they did it. And 80% of the book is me giving strategies, and 20% of the book is they're telling their stories, and I've interwoven their stories into the strategies that I stated, so you can kind of learn from what other people did and life lessons, kind of so to speak. So a lot of people have said that they read nothing but the testimonies, and they just didn't read my part, which is cool. Like I said, that's cool too, because you can read the other part. It could be like an almanac and say, hey, how do I buy versus lease a car? How do I improve my credit? How do I invest in the stock market? That whole section on how do I start a business? The section on that is there. So I try to use it as an almanac where you can just learn from that perspective. So that's what's up.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Thank you, Ryan.
Wrap it up.
It's
Can we pay
amazing.
for the book with a prepaid debit card? Would that be like
Rush card.
insults?
Basically, I actually got a clip on there on YouTube of some kids cutting up a prepaid debit card.
That's cool.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but Russell Simmons called the Eagle Academy and told them to take it down. He said, I'll pay money to get, so he had to take it down. That's all right. We got something else coming for him.
All right, well, we'll definitely have to have you back, and I'll pick up a copy of the book, and we'll have the people email you, put the contact info so that we can follow up. And this has all been recorded so that you can go back to certain points try to zoom in on the notes if you didn't see it.
Yeah, we're going to make it available within the next couple of days. So it won't be available tomorrow, but it will be sometime within the week.
Cool.
But this has been awesome. We always seal the night in prayer. Would you do the honor?
Sure, please.
All right, let's just seal it in prayer and then we can all go.
Dear Lord, I want to thank you for humbly for allowing me to come here and give this message. And it's not my message, but your message that you allow me to give to these individuals. I want to pray out there for each individual in here that they are able to see their plan, see their vision, and fulfill that vision. Lord, please let us understand that a sinner with a goal will prosper faster than a Christian without one. So we must have a goal, and pursue this goal enough to see it, touch it, feel it, and walk towards it. May that goal be ever so clear today and on tonight when they go home and go to sleep and rest within their minds, that they can start to vision themselves walking in true greatness. And true greatness does not mean what they're doing for themselves, but true greatness with the ability of what you've given them to empower themselves to help other people, Lord Jesus. So I just want to pray that these individuals just walk out here today. And for those individuals that are not able to be here, that let them, the people in this room, go out and try to touch as many people, at least one thing that they've touched, learned about tonight, and share to other people. And I'm going to pray for their success. I want to pray for their greatness. I know that they have a lot of things inside of them that's going to uplift themselves, going to allow even me to become greater because of the skills and talents that they've given me. So let us all become one in the circle of unity and greatness and binding together under your will. Because none of us is as strong as all of us, Lord Jesus. And I just want to thank you for this unified blessing of all these folks, fabulous folks coming together, and may we continue to go together in unity and all these things. We pray in your name. Amen.
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 I want to say a quick prayer for Ryan. I want to lift up our brother Ryan in prayer and say thank you for just giving him such a creative vision to spin financial literacy, into a ministry. And we just thank you for that vision and the talent that you've given to him and the platforms that you've presented his vision on. And we just thank you that we've been blessed with his words tonight. And we just pray for so much abundance for him and more platforms and speaking in front of more and more millions of people. And we just want to pray a blessing over his ministry and his work and the positive message and just the work that he's doing to build up your tower, God, and your kingdom. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Hey, we should play his little clip that we didn't play in the beginning.
What's that?
Yes, it was supposed to lead you in, but
Oh.
we lead you out. So this was his, this is,
Honey, where you put it?
video. Huh?
I don't know where you put it.
Oh, it's in the Safari.
Isn't it on YouTube?
Just touch the bottom of and pull up Safari.
Oh, you set it up already?
Yeah, it should be,
Should be queued up.
Yeah.
just look for the browser, to the right, to the right, to the right. Oh, right here, one left, yep, right there. Click that.
Oh,
Play
yeah.
that.
If you guys, actually, Danielle, could you drop the lighting so we can actually see it?
Aww. We can turn the volume up.
Gonna make it right. As I turn the color on, the spring.
777 is the number today that every 401k owner, every individual retirement account owner, and everybody who has money in the stock market understands, because it's 777 is the number that the Dow was down when they did reject this package.
Ryan, you can't disagree with that now, can you?
Well, I agree with it. And the bottom line is, well, sometimes men get a little bit overconfident, and they tend to trade a little bit more frequently than women do. There's a study by the University of California that essentially studied 35,000 couples and found that men turn over their portfolios about 77% annually versus about 53% annually for women. You know, we all know that the buy and hold strategy works the best. And in your 401k strategy, it's the best place to use that buy and hold dollar cost investment strategy. It still seems like it's going on right now, so I really don't envy him in this position. But do you think he should be reappointed? I do think he should be reappointed, but you know, I kind of look at the Fed like that. They're like that cousin that you really don't trust that comes over to your house at Christmas time. You know, before he leaves, you kind of want to pat his pockets down just to make sure, make sure he doesn't do anything. And so I think that we have to make sure to look at these assets that, I mean, this money that we've been spending and see, you know, we need ultimate full transparency to make sure we can try to pat his pockets down the road. So when they defaulted, the problem was exacerbated because a lot of these hedge funds were saying, hey, Lehman Brothers, you owe me X amount of $1 billion because we have this derivative that we took out on you. Lehman Brothers said, well, I don't have the money. Lehman Brothers went down, the money markets went down, and next thing you know, you saw this ripple effect that just went throughout the entire economy that really could have been avoided without excessive greed by corporations and a higher knowledge by individuals just taking the time to research how they could purchase homes in a responsible manner. You know, I'm in Detroit right now. I have a lot of good buddies and friends who are working on the line, and they've got their contracts renegotiated for a lower price. Right. You know, and now at the end of the day, individuals in the AIG, not only do they get to keep their six-figure salaries, but and the $170 billion that the taxpayers who are working on the line gave them. But in addition to that, they get another $165 million. You're talking about consumer confidence. This actually makes individuals who are working on the line say, you know what, those who have and those who do not have as much as those who have are very discouraged. And what's almost the incentive to work hard, to go out, try to get additional education, try to go out and get retrained and make sure we can put in more productive hours, that makes people more discouraged. Right. I think that when we're talking about too big to be responsible, that's something that we have to draw the line. It's just too big to fail is one thing, but too big to be responsible is another thing that we have to stop.
I think you've been on the head there.
As our country has, and as America as a whole, we have never had a problem with making money. We've always been able to make money. But our propensity to consume grows faster than our ability to make money, to the point where 60% of this country is spending in a deficit. So, probably been one of the most successful houses in the history of the United States in terms of being in lockstep with the platform of what the model wanted to lay out, and it's been extremely successful. How do you feel when individuals say that the government has not been successful, knowing that the House has passed most of the legislation as it is? As it was, people talk about public adoption, they have the public adoption health care reform, the financial regulatory reform was stronger than it was supposed to be. So everything was stronger according to the House, but all of a sudden it gets held up when we get to this filibuster timid nature of the Senate. How do you feel about that when people say that the government, the House, the government itself is not being successful?
I must admit that it's very frustrating.
Individuals who understand that two of the most precious gifts that God has ever given to you are the left and the right. And they understand that this left and the right hand can do some powerful things. This left and the right hand can go and it can destroy an entire community. But it can also be. In 2001, the first Apple store came to fruition. And they said, this is destined for failure. They're opening up an Apple store in the middle of a recession. By 2008, it was deemed to be recession-proof. You've got to understand all the things that have come out. And I can go on HP, GE, Sports Illustrated, Trader Joe's, MTV, CNN, LexisNexis, Microsoft, IHOP, Hyatt, Burger King, Jim Henson's Muppets. All these things were spawned, the majority of the S&P 500 was spawned from recessions. This is the time where you want to be that bullfighter in the game.
Yeah.
But we have to make sure that mindset is right.
What?
We're not buying all the speed that's trying to be pumped in every other station. We don't buy into fear, we buy into faith and hope. And you don't have one, maybe 2 times in your entire lifetime to see this kind of shine. I'm going to tell you what. We all have just one time to see all of you shine. And I don't want to miss out on that shine. I don't want anybody to miss out on the shine that you are going to give to make this world a better place.
This week, we took a look at one program that's working to help low-income citizens get a leg up on financial success.
The fact saying you should be discouraged. The fact saying that you should be upset and maybe you should be lose hope. But that's not the truth. The truth is, the facts don't show the will and the spirit of the people that are in this room. These.
Yeah, Ryan.
Whatever.
Making a change. Yeah. book.
Oh, you know that book?
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming out. We're so
No
blessed to
problem.
have you.
Thanks for all those that watch, that are still watching, that watched throughout the evening. We appreciate that you checking our live stream out. And if you have any questions, please head to our website, which is www.ActorsInChrist.com. You could also find us on Facebook at that same name, Actors in Christ, or on Twitter for that same address. If you have any questions, please hit us up on the website. Thanks and have a great night.
Yay!